Welcome back, college baseball fans. If you can see my hat and you can see my guest, you realize it's Boston College time. We are interviewing all ACC tournament pitcher AJ Colarusso. AJ, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
You are fresh off of a practice. You guys are in the thick of fall ball here. Um, really want to talk a little bit about your kind of a roller coaster season last year. You yourself, obviously, you were coming back as a primary weekend rotation guy, and you struggled a bit out of the gate. And at one point, was coming out of the bullpen at Virginia and awesome, and then you were back in the rotation, and yet you're I believe Ti says you have some insane recovery ability, and you've been able to come out of the bullpen at times, and then we get to the ACC tournament, and I think everyone remembers what happened with that, where you pitched the opening game, and then you came and started against North Carolina 3 days later. Um, Talk me through what that season was like and the roller coaster it was for you.
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of ups and downs. I started the year off, really in a disappointing way. Just I was, what really upset me most was just not putting the team in a good chance to win. I mean, I was getting pulled early. Things were not really going well. I was not at my sharpest. I think, my biggest personal issue was I didn't have too much confidence or enough confidence in my arsenal at that point. And then, the first ACC weekend, I was put in the bullpen. So that was UVA. And then at Florida State, I was also out of the pen. And then by the third ACC weekend, North Carolina was at home in Boston. And then I was back in the rotation. But it was just TIs and Forrest, what they decided to do was, or they just wanted to do what was best for the team. And, obviously I was all on board, as that's most important. But I think the bullpen, probably ended up being a good thing for me. I mean, it definitely lit kind of a fire under me and, realized that obviously nothing's guaranteed. And it, just kind of gave me, helped me find another gear. And, even when I got back to the rotation, I struggled for a couple weeks, and then I hit my stride a little later. So, that whole beginning of the season, I think, ended up being good for me because it really helped me find another level of conviction in my stuff, which that right there was really the thing that helped me turn it around in the second half. Just really, finding, deep down more confidence in myself and more conviction. So, the ups and downs were definitely there, but in the end, I think that it was it happened for a reason, and it helped me kick off a good second half.
Yeah, I think I remember that UVA series. Obviously, that was a crazy series. You guys hadn't played well the weekend before, against Richmond, and you squeezed out a win against VCU. But then, that one game I think on Saturday was like 22 to like 17 or 16.
Yeah.
But you came out of the bullpen, and I remember asking the SID for some quotes from you, and the biggest thing you mentioned was the confidence in your stuff that you had. You just got that confidence back, and I think it was 3 scoreless innings you came out of the bullpen or something like that, and was a huge player that week. How important is that confidence? Because you're kind of one of the things I also like about you is you're kind of a fiery guy on the mound. You're an emotional guy, and I think that confidence, and then it builds to a point where sometimes you can be unhittable like you were against North Carolina.
Yeah, up until that point, I really just kind of sat down and just spent a lot of time thinking about my year at that point. And the biggest thing is it's really not a reflection of like how well I had prepared for that season. It's not a reflection of how I want to pitch for this team. It's not a reflection of me as a player. And I realized that I needed to find that confidence and conviction somewhere, and it just came from trusting all the work I'd put in and do my very best to prepare to win games. So something I definitely just made a switch in my mind to just absolutely go out and trust my stuff. And fortunately that UVA weekend went really well for me, and I think that helped me to find more success later. So it was really just having a lot of reflection at that point in the year, and realizing that I'm good enough to to get outs against any team, and I was able to find that conviction.
Love that. Fast forward to another big series win for you guys on the road at Wake Forest.
Yeah.
You start Friday night, or I think it might have been Easter weekend, so you might have started Thursday night.
Yeah, it was
And
Thursday.
yeah, you throw 70 something pitches. You have a decent start, but then you come back in the decider and pitch out of a bases loaded jam. And I mean, again, that's where I think Ti told me about your ridiculous recovery rate. But how does that go? Like, how do you explain that you're ready to go and like without coming across too pushy? Like, because as a competitor, I'm sure you're like, I'm ready to roll. Like, how do you convince them, and how does that conversation go with the coaching staff?
I mean, honestly, I think the origin of that was kind of at UVA. I mean, I'm not sure that Todd and Forrest were expecting me to throw twice that weekend, but it happened at UVA. And then I'm, fortunate enough that those two guys have a lot of confidence in me. And I told them like, hey, like I'm ready to go today on that Saturday at Wake Forest. Like I just am, and I want to help us win again. And I just took, really good care of myself that Thursday night and through Friday. And it was honestly just that simple. Like I'm just ready to go. And they had enough confidence in me. And Sam made an unbelievable double play up the middle there with Magpok, I believe. And I was, able to, help the team and hand the ball off to Joe Rye to get the win. So, I'm fortunate that they have enough trust in me, and I had a great other 8 guys on the field with me too.
Yeah, that was a great weekend. I know some people might look at it and see ugly baseball, but to me it kind of personified Ti's style and y'all's grittiness. Because you had Vince Cimini, who was dying at one point that weekend with illness.
Yeah, maybe and then at second base, but whoever it was.
Yeah. And then you had just forced mistakes from Wake Forest, and then you have guys like yourself coming out on very short rest, and just one of the really cool weekends that you guys were able to kind of impose your will in an environment that's not easy to do so at the couch. Fast forward now to the ACC tournament. Talk to me about how that game against North Carolina felt. I mean, obviously you guys don't get the win, you didn't get enough offense going, but I mean, you were taking one of the best teams in the country and shutting them down and going toe-to-toe with the ACC Pitcher of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, I think throughout that game, we were all just thinking of how proud we were to be wearing a BC uniform at that point. No one had expected us to be that far or that deep into the tournament except for us, frankly, except for ourselves. So we were all just, giving it our all, emptying the tank in that game. And I guess in terms of the bounce back, it was kind of a similar thing. I mean, I'm fortunate that they had enough trust in me, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity. I mean, I think it just came back to, the physical and mental preparation I had done up to that point. And, was fortunate enough to turn in, 6 good innings with obviously some, unbelievable defense behind me. Like that whole game was really just a testament to like what we can really do. And that's how we want to frankly start next year.
Yeah, I think you ended up throwing like 180 pitches in 3 days. And what a lot of people don't think about as well is you guys played the 2 night games to start.
Yeah, we did. Late night.
And I was there for every bit of it. And I believe one ended like right at 2 and one ended at 3 or something.
Crazy hours. It was honestly, it was crazy playing that late.
Yeah, and I was not ready for the emotion of, for realizing it was the final time for Pat and Sam and Vince and those guys. I was not quite prepared for the emotion in that press conference, and obviously I wasn't prepared for Todd to show that much emotion. But you lose those 3 guys, stalwarts in the program, even back to before Todd. With you've been there the whole time as well. How do you mitigate kind of losing those kind of 3 guys? Because obviously they were a big part of the culture and the leadership. You get Nick Wang back, which is huge. And you mentioned Kyle Wolf and Tyler Mudd before the show. They're both back. But, losing those 3 really experienced guys, you got to figure out how to kind of replace that, not just on the field, but the locker room presence, which those 3 guys were pretty big.
Mm-hmm. I mean, first, I just want to kind of give a nod to those three guys. I mean, they just poured so much into the team, into the program, and they were, really the best leaders you could ask for. And everyone you talk to has absolutely loved playing with them, and they're three of the best teammates I've ever had. So, but yeah, to answer your question, I mean, I think that we have a lot of just young guys who I don't expect to skip a beat, really. And that's obviously, not a knock on those three guys who are gone now. Of course not. But it's really just a testament to what we have coming up, in the program. Obviously, we have Wolf and Wang to kind of anchor the infield, who are some big returners. Then we have guys that we saw glimpses of, like Julio, Solier, Esteban Garcia, new guys like Timon Olfi from Dayton. I mean, I could name 5 or 6 guys for 2 or 3 positions easily like that. So I'm really excited to see what we have in the infield. And yeah, I frankly don't expect us to skip a beat. I'm excited to see what we have in store.
Yeah, it was kind of big because those guys all stayed after the transition to the new head coach. You stayed as well. You're probably going to be kind of the big name leader, at least on the pitching staff. You were kind of like that last year, I imagine. Is there any anything you're working on in terms of trying to be a stronger leader, or is it more just kind of a natural transition?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm trying to force anything. I mean, I think on the pitching staff, you have guys like, along with me, like there's Tyler Mudd, who's been a staple in the last 3 years. You have a guy like Sean Hard, who's a 5th year. And I mean, I expect a lot of big things from him. I'm really excited to see him healthy this year. And a handful of other guys too. But no, I wouldn't say I'm really trying to, force anything or do anything actively. I think that, I'm just going to earn the trust of the coaches and my teammates again, like throughout the fall and the winter. And my personal goals are just kind of to start next year the way I ended last year, just with a lot of confidence and conviction in who I am.
Love that. I want to talk a little bit about your head coach. He's one of the more interesting characters, I think, in college baseball. He's very good at what he does. He has a very clear identity. I talked about that Wake Forest series, especially offensively. Kind of. It's not necessarily ugly baseball, but it's taking advantage of mistakes, grinding out victories. What's it like playing for him? And as you head into year 3, how's the team looking? Because it looks like he's getting a little bit more of his identity. We talked about Pat and Sam and Vince, and they're great players, but they didn't necessarily fit always the speed base running thing that Todd is big on.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the very first thing that comes to mind is just how much T.I. loves to compete. I mean, he said that from day one, and frankly, if he never said that he loves to compete explicitly, I would have saw that on day one as well. He said, like, watching us compete and watching us do our thing, it's like his drug, or he said something like that on day one. We really have a lot of appreciation for how much he pours into this program every day, and along with Coach Forrest and Saul and everyone else who's here. But I mean, yeah, I'm excited to also see how our system, how well it's going to work this year with pretty much now, like, the whole team is kind of TI guys, for the most part. But I'm just really excited to see how our level of compete factor and our style of baseball can make some noise this year.
Yeah, that's one of the things I always loved about you guys is it didn't matter what happened the game before, you always came back to compete. When some teams in that same situation would kind of start to keel over, and then you widen the gap in the conference. But never an easy time playing Boston College, which I think is something you guys prided yourself on. But before I get into some of the the fall practice stuff and new guys, I want to ask you, you're from Massachusetts. Did you grow up a Boston College fan? Was Boston College always kind of the dream destination for you?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I had obviously recognized it as, what everyone would say, like a great school, and playing in the ACC is my chance to compete against the best. An hour away from my home. So yeah, that was, that's obviously kind of on the surface level there, but I owe a lot to the staff that recruited me first, Coach Gambino and Murphy and Treza and those guys. And, they were some of the first people to believe in me. So we had a great connection from the beginning, and, believing in a sophomore in high school who was, in the low 80s and 180 pounds. So I'm grateful for them, and every year since has been a smooth transition. So yeah, I'm grateful for all that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to see, the New England guys getting some love, and seeing a lot of the local guys at Boston College there, because Boston is such a baseball vibrant city as well, with the Red Sox, and it's one of my favorite cities in the country. But let's talk now. Let's shift into the practices. What's the vibes coming into fall practice this season? You guys, feel improved, feel ready to roll and compete?
Yeah, 100%. All in all, I think we're pretty healthy. Like, we don't really have, just off the top of my head, I don't think we have anyone, on the shelf that is going to be really limited this fall. So yeah, we've kind of hit the ground running. We're in, what we call individuals. Like, pitchers are kind of separate from hitters right now, position players. But actually next Tuesday is when we start all going together. So we're really pumped for that. I can speak mostly for the pitchers, but we've been really working hard, improving our stuff, improving our execution, using a lot of technology on the field and things like that with Coach Forrest and Holden. So yeah, I think we're really in a good spot right now, and we're looking forward to a healthy and a healthy, productive fall. So yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, you bring back a lot of good pitchers that had great summers. Kyle Kipp, once again, a monster summer. This time it was on the Cape against elite competition. You have the two freshmen in Gavin Suarez and Brady Miller, who were rock solid and I think a little underrated last year. Not enough talk. And then Cesar Gonzalez. Was fantastic in the summer as well, playing both positions. It's got to be really exciting to kind of see those guys developing and moving, making that freshman to sophomore year jump.
Absolutely. I'm pumped to see those guys get on the mound and really get rolling once we get into intra squads and scrimmages against UConn and Rutgers this fall. We already get the feeling that those guys have already elevated their stuff. So we're all really excited to see them going, and obviously having great summers is encouraging as well.
One of the things with Brady is he's like 6'6", something like that, 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
He looks like he should be throwing mid-90s. And have you seen his velocity bump up a little bit? I know he threw kind of high 80s. Have you seen a velocity bump at all from him?
So far, he's been taking it a little easy, but we'll have to see, what happens the rest of the fall. But, he's a guy that's going to beat you with whatever he has. He's a guy that's going to come at you with 4 or 5 different looks in each at bat in any count. His pitchability is off the charts, and it was really impressive watching him do his thing last spring. He's a guy that just really knows who he is on the mound, and for a velo jump, it's kind of hard to say, but he'll start to ramp up more this fall. But he's a guy that I'm really, really excited to see, and he just puts so much work in it. He really works on his craft day in and day out. So he's gonna have a big next couple months.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if he's gotten a velocity jump when you guys are still in indies. But yeah, I remember I'd have to remind myself, because I'd be like, he looks like he's about to throw 96, and then it's like 88, and I'm like, oh right, he's very good. It's just he's still, if he ever builds into that frame, it could be. Imagine, if he's throwing mid-90s, that's going to make him a pretty high prospect in terms of the next level. But you get a couple of transfers. John D. Mitchell comes to mind, but a lot of returners come back. Tyler Mudd, I didn't know if he had eligibility. He's back, which is great. Gunnar Johnson, he's not a pitcher, he's a catcher. He's back. But John D. Mitchell coming over from Air Force is a former pretty high recruit. He could slide in and give you guys some depth, but you bring back a lot of pitching. It's got to be really exciting to see after last year, you brought in so many new faces, and now this year you kind of got more of a return group with a few new faces that should elevate you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, John's obviously kind of the headline for that. He just started really to ramp up very recently this fall, and I mean, his arm really jumps out at you. He's one of the more electric guys we have. Mud is healthy and doing really well. Sean Hard will come at you with 96, 97 when he wants. So we're really pumped, and we have a lot of strong, good-looking young guys too, and Logan Berenson, Luke D'Ancona, Chase Hartzell, Sean Budis, like other, we had just the list can go on. So we're really excited to see where we can get to this fall with all the new guys.
And you bring in some transfers. I know you're doing Indy, so you're not doing as much with the hitting guys, but you've mentioned a couple of them already. Ty Mainolfi, is that his?
Yeah.
Okay. I write all these names and I know them, but I'm like pronunciation. I'm like I should have looked that up.
Sounds about right to me. Mainolfi.
Yeah, Sean Martinez coming in as well. Those are two guys you really like. I mean, Colin Larson summer. I mean, I'm looking at. I mean, Colin Larson coming back had an OPS of 952 in the Appy League, was absolutely a monster, stole 21 bags. One of the things I loved about some of the summer stuff is you had guys that were walking more than they were striking out, and they were all stealing bags, which is BC bird ball in a nutshell.
That's what we do.
Just getting on base any way you can. You got to feel pretty good about the lineup. I mean, again, especially getting Nick Wang back, Kyle Wolf, who had a down year by his standards. He should bounce back to what he kind of had, as a sophomore. And all of a sudden, BC bird ball looks like, you guys can play into that, close to that NCAA tournament level.
Yeah, no question. I mean, flat out, no question about that. We'll definitely get the thump from guys like Larson, Wang, Wolf, and we have guys that can really run. Mainolfi and Sean Martinez and Carter Hendrickson. He's from Xavier. So yeah, we really already kind of have the beginnings of it really coming together this year. Guys who can provide the juice, and then guys who can kind of supplement that with our system and what we do so well, which is just put teams on their heels on the bases and just playing the game the right way. So yeah, I really expected to see it come together on the offensive side. So we're excited.
Love that. I know you haven't had a chance to see many of the hitters, and I'm sure everyone's looking pretty good, but who on the team do you think has the best chance to have a breakout season in the spring? Now, that's tough because I'm sure there's plenty. I know I talked to Gavin Gallagher. He's going to be our first guy from UNC, and he gave me 3 names. So if you need to give me 3 names, that's okay because he set the precedent.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's hard. Like, it's early. Haven't really got to see many of the guys play, September 17th. But, I mean, just one name that jumps out at me is Ty. Ty from he crushed it at Dayton, crushed it in the NECBL this summer. I mean, his bat to ball is obviously extremely advanced and some really high level stuff there. And then how can you keep Kip off that list too? I mean, he had a 0 ERA through the regular season on the Cape, so he just keeps getting better and better. He's got some really good stuff. I mean, yeah, I guess that might be my one guy, from the pitching and one guy from the offense. I mean, you can't keep Sean Hart off that list too. I mean, he's healthy this year. Like I already said, he can come at you with 96, 97. So yeah, I mean, those would just be 2 or 3 out of the guys that I could, put in a long list of players who could really break out.
What excites you the most about the team heading into the full fall practices?
Honestly, I think I've already touched on this a little bit, but it's just things coming together for us. At the end of the ACC tournament last year, Todd had said that he really felt that was a shift in the program, coming off wins against Notre Dame, UVA, and playing, giving UNC a run for their money at the end there. So I really kind of see things coming together. Our base running, our offense, what we preach on the mound, just execution over everything. So I'm really excited to see in year 3, BC baseball to really come together and put together something that's going to make a lot of noise this year.
Absolutely. And you talked a little bit about how you guys are kind of coming together, you guys coming together, bonding, gelling really well. You guys having a lot of fun together as a team off the field, getting to know each other.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think we have less new guys this year than last year, which, I'm just throwing that out there at face value. But I mean, yeah, we are already gelling really well together. I mean, we hang out all the time. Doesn't matter what grade, what position you play. Hanging out at the off-campus houses and in the dorms too. So it's really been a smooth start so far, and we look forward to really seeing that manifest on the field as well. So yeah, we're pumped.
Perfect. So we're going to transition to some kind of fun questions, and you kind of needed to know your teammates a little bit, so I wanted to make sure you were covered before I asked you questions. But these are going to be some kind of fun, quick hitting questions. But we're going to do some superlatives. I think I got 5 of them here. Who's the team class clown? The team funny guy?
Team funny guy. Kip's up there. Yeah. He's got a really he's a lighthearted kid, but yeah, he's the best. I probably give that one to Kip.
Love that. All right, how about a glue guy?
I think that's got to go to a guy like Sean or Sean. Owen DeShays is up there. Guys who are returners and are kind of poised to have big years. Yeah, I'd probably give that Sean. I'd throw Mud and Wang in there too. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. All right. How about nerd? Who's the big nerd?
Dang. In the best way possible, I give that to Brady Miller. If you know him, you'd probably agree. I mean, he's just like he's incredibly meticulous and really just dedicated to what he does. So yeah, he's kind of got that quirky lefty personality, but I mean, the truth is he's the man, and he's the best. But yeah, I'd probably give it to Brady.
It's 2025. Being a nerd is cool. It's fine.
Sure. Of course.
All right. How about best dressed?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm trying to think of what I see walking into the locker room. Give that to Ben Williams, sophomore this year, outfielder. Yeah.
And then the last one's kind of a boring one. Leader. I think that's kind of easy, a little bit easier, with some of the guys you got. But go ahead. Who's the leader or leaders on the team?
Yeah, I'd kind of throw that right to guys like Sean, Wang, and Mud. Kind of that those 3 grad guys. Awesome. They're doing a great job already.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, more fun stuff. I need food recommendations. What's the local food staple?
Local, I think you got to try. I mean, if you're into pizza, I would say go to Crazy Dough. Go to Pino's. That's right in Cleveland Circle. If you're looking for more variety, you got to go to Eagles Deli. I'm trying to think, where else do we go to? And if you're looking something really, really nice, you got like Capitol Grill. And if you're looking for a good steak, Capitol Grill's up there. So yeah, I'd say those are up there. But Boston's Boston. I mean, you can get anything you want at some great places.
Absolutely. All right, toughest hitter you faced in the ACC last year?
Last year, I'd say the toughest hitter I faced. Yeah, I mean, Eddie King's up there. He's gotten me a couple times. He even got me my sophomore year too.
That's a good one.
I'd probably give it to him.
Yeah, Hunter Stokes
was there too. Yeah. Those guys can swing it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I just remembered. I was just thinking Eddie's postseason was on fire. I think they lost the first round game of the ACC tournament, and he still made the tournament team. That's how good.
Yeah. Daniel Cuvée got me also late in the game when they were up in Boston. Yeah, he's another one. I'd say those 3 guys are tough.
Oh yeah, that was a critical series. What's your routine on a day that you're starting? Your game day routine.
Yeah, my routine is get into the facility for the team meeting, which is about like an hour and a half ish before the game, and then I'll kind of go into some like stretching and soft tissue work, like rolling out, and then I do some stuff like some easier mobility work, like some dead hangs, stuff for my spine and my hips, just some traditional traditional mobility exercises. And then I'll get into my band routine, ply routine, to get my body kind of situated on the mound. And then I love long toss, so I'll go out to 275, 300, 300 plus, depending on the day. And then I'll go in and do some pull downs, and then throw my pregame pen. And I like to keep it pretty simple, not overly superstitious. I don't have any sort of outstanding routines or anything like that. Just kind of keep it the same, every week though.
Absolutely. Are you more of a, like, before the game, are you kind of like laser focus, like quiet, or are you kind of keeping it loose and chill?
Before I get the uniform on and start to warm up, I'll be, pretty laid back. Just because I like to really spend that hour and a half to hour before the game, really locked in and focused on what I have to do. But no, before that, I think I keep it fairly loose.
Yeah, like I said, you're a pretty fiery guy on the mound. Whenever I look for pictures of you to use on graphics, it's always after a big strikeout where you're pumped up, and I'm like that. I love it. I love the emotion there. It just cracks me up that like every photo, I'm like, is this the same game? Is this the same shot, different angle? And it's what are your favorite MLB pitchers to kind of emulate or watch?
Well, I was to probably start like growing up. I mean, well, a little before my time was Tom Glavine. He was a guy that my dad really liked, and so he kind of showed me what he was about, like a lefty, not undersized, but kind of your average sized left-hander, not blowing fastballs by people, just pitching really effectively. So he's a guy that I fell in love with when I was really young. Who was obviously, like I said, before my time. Well, not totally, but yeah. He pitched into the 2000s. And then obviously guys like Madison Bumgarner, Clayton Kershaw were guys I always liked. Kind of kept it pretty strict to lefties overall. That's just who I liked looking at. Sonny Gray was also a guy I really liked too. I mean, he's a righty, but yeah, those are probably the main guys.
No Max Scherzer personality wise, even because he was a righty.
Yeah, I guess I guess that kind of personality showed up in college for sure. But I've always loved watching him. Another guy was John Lester on the Red Sox. I watched.
Oh, yeah.
And I fell in love with him in the 2013 World Series. So yeah, I'd say those are the guys I've watched the most.
Love that. Last question I did want to ask you, because I kind of forgot about it, but you had an opportunity to pitch in the Fenway game. Not necessarily was it this year or last year?
2024. Yeah, my sophomore year. Yeah,
that's right. What was that like? I mean, I assume you grew up a Red Sox fan.
Yep.
So that must have been. I mean, how were you? I mean, you pitched very well. You beat UVA. You pitched outstanding. How were you able to just stay laser focused and yet also enjoy the moment?
Yeah, I really tried to treat it more or less the same. The whole soaking it in and enjoying the moment and understanding what the game is about comes in the days before, and we're there early, so in the hour or two before I start to really focus in on the game. But it's such just an unbelievable opportunity to play in that game and to pitch in that game. Obviously get a win, but really have the world understand the impact that Pete Frady's had, not only baseball and our program, but frankly the world too, raising awareness for such a horrible, insidious, awful disease, ALS. So it's really a remarkable day for us and for millions and millions of people and families. But yeah, to get back to your question, it's a matter of just enjoying it, in the hours before the game. And then just kind of treating it like anything else, just an opportunity to have to win a ball game and put my team in a chance to in a good position to win. And that game, went well for us.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up the Pete Frates stuff, because that needs to be brought up, and that's normally something I have on my list, and I forgot it until I mentioned the Fenway game. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's one of the really cool things about the program, and how you guys have managed to continue that legacy year in and year out, even with coaching changes and player changes. So it's a really special thing, and it's really important to the program. And so I appreciate you bringing that up. Is there anything else you want to share? I've taken up enough of your time. Gotten through all my questions. Anything else you want to bring up?
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, obviously, just that the whole deal with Pete Frates and ALS is really at the core of who we are, and it's about it beyond baseball is just being he says men and women for others, and that's what we strive to be, not only here but later in life. So I'm glad we touched on that. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see what we do the rest of the fall and in the winter, and then make a lot of noise this spring right off the bat. So yeah.
Absolutely. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for February already. We'll be back with another interview next week. But until then, go Birds, right?
Yep. Of course. Go Eagles.